Uranium is a silvery white metallic chemical element in the periodic table, with atomic number 92. It is assigned the chemical symbol U. A uranium atom has 92 protons and 92 electrons, of which 6 are valence electrons. Uranium has the highest atomic weight of all naturally occurring elements. But, what made uranium so expensive? Uranium occurs naturally in low concentrations in soil, rock and water, and is commercially extracted from uranium-bearing minerals such as uraninite. Uranium ore can be mined from open pits or underground excavations. The ore can then be crushed and treated at a mill to separate the valuable uranium from the ore. Uranium may also be dissolved directly from the ore deposits in the ground, in situ leaching, and pumped to the surface. Uranium mined from the earth is stored, handled, and sold as uranium oxide concentrate, U3O8. For many years, uranium was used primarily as a colorant for ceramic glazes and for tinting in early photography. Its radioactive properties were not recognized until 1866, and its potential for use as an energy source was not manifested until the mid-20th century. Uranium is now used to power commercial nuclear reactors that produce electricity and to produce isotopes used for medical, industrial, and defense purposes around the world. The quest for cleaner, more environmentally friendly fuels has propelled the growth of the nuclear industry and electricity generation. Miners worldwide extract about 60,000 metric tons of uranium annually. As a result, uranium has become an increasingly valuable commodity in world markets. Global supply sources. Decisions by a small group of uranium suppliers can have a significant impact on prices. 3 countries, Kazakhstan, Canada, and Australia, provide about 2/3 of the annual supply of uranium. Kazakhstan alone provides about 40% of world output. Therefore, events in these countries can have a disproportionate impact on prices. Production decisions by Kazatomprom, the state-owned production company in Kazakhstan, or Cameco, the world's second-largest uranium miner located in Canada, can have a big effect on spot uranium prices. Because uranium decays by alpha particles, external exposure to uranium is not as dangerous as exposure to other radioactive elements because the skin will block the alpha particles. Ingestion of high concentrations of uranium, however, can cause severe health effects, such as cancer of the bone or liver. Inhaling large concentrations of uranium can cause lung cancer from the exposure to alpha particles. Uranium is also a toxic chemical, meaning that ingestion of uranium can cause kidney damage from its chemical properties much sooner than its radioactive properties would cause cancers of the bone or liver. Uranium was discovered in 1789 by Martin Klaproth, a German chemist, who isolated an oxide of uranium while analyzing pitchblende samples from the Joachimsthal silver mines in the former Kingdom of Bohemia, located in the present-day Czech Republic. He named his discovery, Uran, after the planet Uranus. In 1841, Eugène Melchior Péligot, a French chemist, finally succeeded in isolating pure uranium. In 1896, the most important scientific discovery related to uranium occurred. French physicist Antoine-Henri Becquerel placed a small quantity of uranium onto an unexposed photographic plate, and the plate became cloudy. Becquerel deduced that invisible rays emitted from the uranium caused this phenomenon. Becquerel had serendipitously discovered radioactivity. Beginning in 1934, physicist Enrico Fermi conducted experiments with uranium that led to the development of nuclear reactors and the beginning of the nuclear age. The first modern use of uranium was in warfare. The United States was on the brink of war with Germany when Fermi and his team of scientists created the first nuclear reactor, known as an atomic pile. Fearful that the Germans might be developing their own bomb, U.S. scientists hastened efforts to create a nuclear weapon. Ultimately, these efforts led to the development of the first nuclear bomb used at Hiroshima, Japan during World War II. Soon thereafter, an escalating nuclear arms race ensued between the Soviet Union and the United States. However, after World War II, countries also began seeking peaceful uses of nuclear energy. In the early 1950s, American researchers successfully lit 4 light bulbs using nuclear power, and by 1957, the first nuclear power plant began operating in the United States. In 1954, the world's first nuclear reactor began producing power in Russia, and by the 1960s and 1970s, the nuclear power industry began to grow rapidly worldwide. Until the early 1950s, the main global source of uranium was in the Belgian Congo. To meet the needs of the fast-growing nuclear power industry, more countries including the United States, Canada, France and Australia began developing uranium mines. Uranium extraction. Extracting uranium from the earth takes place using three methods. 1. Open pit mining. 2. Underground mining. 3. In situ leaching. 1. Open pit uranium mining. This form of mining, also called strip mining, involves using heavy machinery to remove soil and rocks at the surface of the earth and uncover valuable uranium ores just below the surface. Miners dump the surface materials, known as waste rock, near the open pit. They then dig a series of steps, known as benches, into the mine to facilitate removal of the uranium ores. Sometimes miners construct roads to allow hauling trucks easier access to ores or employ pumps to dewater the pit. Drawbacks of open pit uranium mining. While open pit mining is less expensive than underground mining, see below, it produces a heavy toll on the environment. Open pit mines produce enormous and hazardous waste rocks, create groundwater contamination and expose miners and nearby populations to dust and radon gases. Open pit mining usually produces ores with less than 0.5% uranium content, and the mining methods works only with minerals located less than 400 feet below the surface. 2. Underground mining. Underground mines allow miners to retrieve ores that surface mines can't reach. Miners drill into the ground and use controlled explosives to shatter the ore into debris. Ores are then transported to the surface. Underground mines have a smaller environmental footprint than open pit mines and produce less waste rock. In addition, better ventilation systems and robotic mining techniques have improved the safety of newer underground mines. Uranium milling process. After extraction, the ores from both open pit and underground mines require milling. Machines crush and pulverize the rocks into fine fragments. Processors first add water and then sulfuric acid or an alkaline solution to release uranium from the rocks. This produces uranium oxide, or yellow cake. Another processing plant then enriches this uranium further to prepare it for industrial uses. Typically, milling allows recovery of 95 to 98% of the uranium residing in the rocks. Milling is the only effective method for extracting uranium from conventionally mined ores. Drawbacks of underground uranium mining. However, the method also has its drawbacks. Underground mining is expensive and can cause serious damage to local aquifers. As with surface mines, ore yields are typically less than 0.5% uranium. 3. In situ uranium leaching. Some deposits of uranium lend themselves to a more environmentally friendly method known as in situ leaching. With this method, miners pump water with gaseous oxygen and, sometimes, sodium bicarbonate into injection wells at the site of uranium ores. The method dissolves uranium from the rocks into the groundwater. Pumps then bring the uranium-rich water to the surface. Treatment plants then filter the water and remove the uranium. Uranium in situ leach via U.S. Nuclear Regulatory Commission, public domain. In situ leaching produces little waste rock and leaves a minimal environmental footprint. However, miners must monitor contamination of aquifers and ensure disposal of wastewater. In situ leaching accounts for about 48% of all uranium mining, while open pit and underground mining comprise about 47% of mining. The remaining 5% of mining occurs as a byproduct of other